Welcome to Season 6, The Starry Achievers. This podcast season, as we all know, is dedicated to all the talented people with their new ventures under the umbrella named Startup. Today, we have a dynamic CEO with us, Ms. Neha Joshi from India. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, ma'am. It's a pleasure, and I'm sure this is going to be a super interesting chat.
Looking forward to it. So, how have you been?
I have been very well, thank you. How are you?
I am good. Thanks a lot. And if you could just share what are you doing right now and what's your startup all about with our listeners?
Sure. So my name is Neha Joshi, and I run a company called Tutelage Health, Tutelage, Tutelage Health. This company started off as a healthcare IT company, but now caters to servicing of medical devices, procurement of devices and equipment, consulting in the healthcare sector, and probably marketing as well. We are also trying to expand into the social media side. So, yeah, this is what we do. The company is based out of Mumbai in India, and that's where I live. And I work and operate from home since it's a startup, and also because of the pandemic.
Okay. And during this pandemic season, like there must be an increase in demand for the services and the products you deal in.
Right. So, like I said, I started with healthcare IT, and then pandemic hit. So that's when we had to kind of pivot, and then we started trading a lot of medical devices, monitoring devices like monitors, syringe pumps. Then we also did a lot of consumable medical items like masks, right? Different types of masks, N95, oxygen masks, BiPAP masks. So we also expanded into that along with any other requirement. If customers asked for something, we tried to make it available to them.
Okay. That's really wonderful. And how did you step into this startup? When you were young, did you actually ever imagine yourself doing such kind of work?
Completely not. I had no idea that I was going to get into the healthcare sector. In fact, I'm a biomedical engineer, so me getting admitted or taking up a course in biomedical engineering was also a surprise to me. After my graduation, I got a job with Maharashtra State Government as a biomedical engineer, and that's where I actually learned a lot about the healthcare sector, everything medicine, and that kind of led me to this startup and what all I'm doing right now.
Okay. And on the side note, I would like, some information regarding biomedical engineering. If you could just share.
Sure. So biomedical engineering is basically study of all kinds of medical devices and equipment. So we study circuits, its application on human body. So that is what biomedical engineering is. There are also BSc IT courses of medical technology, and there's also a few specific to medical device application courses. Probably emergency services course which is available in AEM hospitals. So yeah.
Okay. And where do, people who graduate in biomedical engineering field, where are they absorbed? Like,
Right. So there's a lot of scope in various sectors, right from research, further education to proper jobs. You can become a sales engineer, service engineer, or an application specialist with any leading medical device company, GE, Philips, etc. You can get into tech, which is proper coding, healthcare IT companies. Name of few would be CTS Tech or Capgemini. They are based out of various locations in India. You can also become a medical transcription associate or a trainee, which you have to do clinical research in that. Beyond that, you can also kind of get into consulting, which is what I did. You can get into either public or private sector where you help in procurement of devices, or you guide the doctors based on their needs as to which device in the market would be suitable for their hospital or for their application. So there's a lot more, and there's a lot of scope and growth, and especially in India, because it's a very niche field, and it's not a field which is out there, right? So it's very much like a monopoly, but there's also a lot of growth. Imagine you do not, there's not enough advertisement or marketing about that field, which means that there's so much growth and opportunities for the same.
That's
So
true.
yes,
And it's really very helpful. And the information that you are sharing is very important because, there is not much information available on social media or otherwise. At least it's not visible. If at all it's prevalent also, it's not there. So I'm
that's
sure the
true.
listeners will definitely share this information and may reach out to you. I'll talk about as to how they can connect with you towards the end. So anything more you can add to this biomedical engineering field?
So, first there's a big misconception as to what biomedical engineering is. People feel that it's something related to biology and physiology, like proper medical sciences part, but it's as much technology as any other engineering field, firstly. So that is there. There's also a lot of scope, so don't shy out. Also reach out to, just Google up biomedical engineering courses or, colleges in India, and you will have quite a bit of information. But it is definitely a field that need not be overlooked or shied away from. It's a super interesting field. In fact, it is the field, to sum it up, it is a field that bridges medicine and technology.
That's beautifully said. And I'm sure now the value will increase
I hope
after
so.
your
I hope so.
information comes aboard. Definitely. Because you have shared something through your own personal experience, and that adds value to any information when that personal
Right,
touch is there.
right, definitely.
Okay, moving ahead, when you had said the consultancy you did with the government wherein you learned, so
Right,
I feel that since then, the inception or the seeds of the CEO in you were sown.
right. So just to give a brief, I joined as a fresher, as a biomedical consultant with Maharashtra State Government and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which is Health Ministry of Maharashtra State in India. And
Okay.
through that job, actually, we we learned about various devices, what are variations in, let's say, monitors or just ventilators or something. We also got to visit quite a few manufacturing facilities across India. We networked with, let's say, doctors, industry leaders. We also dealt with a lot of policymakers. We dealt with a lot of government officials who were in charge of making the rules and regulations. And we also understood how the finances work, what is the business made up of, everything. We were exposed to everything in healthcare in India. So, that kind of led me to, the job,
Mm-hmm.
uh, led me to what I am doing right now. It was like a big force. And in fact, I started my business on the basis of the knowledge and information that I gained from that job.
That's wonderful because you brought that knowledge into the practicality part and bridging the knowledge into the executionable stage, into that stage.
Yes. It seems difficult, but once you are into it, you just find a way, and it's been a super fun and interesting journey since then. Since 2019, since I started Tutelage.
Okay. And reaching to this stage, anything if
Right.
you look back, you would like to share it or advise the young generation, especially, those who are graduating or school kids also, because that is the time they start looking up to professional fields and they start developing a dream for themselves.
Right, right. So for people who are, still studying, students especially, I would suggest, if I don't think I'm in the position to advise, but I would definitely say that, try to develop a lot more skills beyond your course and your academics. Maybe work on your soft skills, which I think are the number one quality that will help you succeed in anything in life, not just starting your own company. It's relationship building, building your network, understanding people, and making decisions based on that. So yeah, and that will also help you in building a high emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, and it's interdependent. And having high emotional intelligence is like it's the biggest strength, in life. So I think yeah, soft skills and emotional intelligence would be something.
That's great, and it's very important fact that you have said. Yes, besides academics, you need to develop on all these set of areas because in India we've seen people are more driven towards academics,
Right,
and
right.
at that crucial moment wherein they are developing themselves, these aspects are like second hand.
It is overlooked,
Yeah,
definitely.
true. That's the right word actually. Overlook.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So, everyone, please, those who have a dream or they are in that stage wherein they are setting up their goals, keep in mind what Ms. Neha has just shared to develop your own skills and develop holistically everything. Like, you should have all those soft skills and the technical aspect.
Hmm.
That's right. Any tough moment you shared, Neha,
Uh,
personally or professionally? How did you cope? So more on the
uh,
coping skills because that will help in people dealing the tough situations.
right, definitely. It's a startup, so definitely I've faced quite a few tough situations multiple times. So I think, when I started as a healthcare IT company and then switching to the trading business, the transition was a bit tough, pivoting from, you start out with doing something else and then within like a few months you have to switch to a different side. So that was a difficult phase. Also, there was a time where, when I had just learned the trading business, I was understanding the finances of the business, and I kind of made um, a few incorrect decisions. They weren't bad necessarily, but sometimes, your deals don't go through, and you have lent somebody money to procure some items, and eventually the deals don't go through. So you have to figure a way out to deal with people as well as your deals, your money management. And the best way to cope through it was firstly be courageous and be accountable for your actions. And secondly would be patient. But for tough situations, the best way to kind of get through anything is just be accountable and be present.
Hmm.
That will help you overcome it because you can't be running away from a tough phase or a tough situation or probably a difficult conversation also, sometimes with a client or with anybody else that you feel like, okay, this is going to be a difficult conversation. You will have to eventually, if not now, then later on, you will have to have that conversation. Might as well have it at the moment and get done with it. So, yes.
Absolutely, because as you had just said, tough conversation that is a very important aspect because you're accountable, and at times, as you had just shared your experience, that some decisions were not appropriate at that point of time, but
Yes.
nevertheless, they add up to the experience part.
Right, right. It's all a part of character building.
Mm-hmm. So your support system were during those tough times,
110% my family because it was pandemic and like I said, I work from home.
right?
So my parents, my brother, my sister, um, and even sometimes in those difficult situations, people you are dealing with are also, sometimes very nice and kind, right? It's just that things don't work out either for you or for them. And in the business, or in any business, people usually don't want to uh, they want to maintain those relationships professionally.
Right.
So, people are always cordial and also try to come to a common ground. So, but primarily my family.
Okay. That is good. And my best wishes to your family for supporting you and
Thank you.
understanding your dream also.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, the idea of I quit my job when I was only 23, and I started my business, but there was not a doubt or a question even once from my family, my parents or anybody else, like, are you sure what you're doing? And so there was no conversation. They're like, okay, if you want to do it, go ahead. We are with you. So
That
in
is a
that
big
way, it
thing.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really understand. I feel I am very fortunate to not be able to understand the whole convincing the family part, if at all, there's my family has been secure enough to let me take risks about me.
So you're
So
blessed.
I am 110%
That 10% speaks volume. That extra
blessed.
10%. Actually.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
during this journey, did you have any memorable moment or any fun anecdote, anything? If you could just share with our listeners.
Yeah, firstly I've had so many stupid moments which in hindsight are funny. Uh, an incident which will highly question my intelligence as a CEO of a company, but I might as well share it because there's so much to take away from it actually. So the very first deal that I did for the trading business, and so before uh, the deal went through, of course, you go through the whole conventional process of doing sales. So I go to a hospital, I meet a purchase manager, and I tell him, sir, that we have XYZ items. Does your hospital require any? And he said, yeah, I want this and XYZ things. And he said, Neha, you have half an hour. Why don't you give me a quotation in half an hour because it's an emergency. And this was peak pandemic in 2021, second wave, around April. So I was like, okay. And so I had a few quotations from the manufacturers, people who I was going to buy the supplies from. And there were a couple of things that I didn't have. So eventually I made an Excel sheet of cost price, selling price, okay?
Okay.
And in that hurry, by mistake, I took my cost price sheet to that manager. So we
Oh,
are on the table, we are, trying to negotiate the cost. And as we move on to the third item, I realized that, okay, this is the cost that I am getting at. How am I going to sell it to the person, right?
right.
So then, and in that moment, I was like, sir, like a proper nice person, I was like, sir, listen, I have made a mistake. This is the cost that I am getting it. I still have to add my margin to this and sell it to you. And because
Really?
really, really. So, it's like if you buy something at 5, you sell it at 7 or 8. So I was buying something at 5 and I showed the same sheet to him. So, but then he was very kind enough. He said, okay, I'm giving you another half an hour. Revise this sheet and come to me.
That was
And I
nice of
revised.
him.
That was super nice of him.
Yeah.
But I have one more thing to add to this. So I go to him with a quote. The deal is, confirmed, and I'm given a deadline of 5 days. Cut to 5 days. I deliver the order, and I have to collect the payment. And in the bill, I have made humongous mistakes of, if let's say I have to charge for 5 items, I've charged for only one. And because I was so worked up to, complete the deadline and not make any mistakes in the product itself, I made a huge accounting mistake.
That would not be
So
a mistake. I mean, somebody hears it like, that they will say it's a blunder.
it is definitely. So again, but that was first order. I have
Right.
made peace with it. But,
Correct.
it is funny in hindsight. Had
Yeah.
that sir not been kind enough, I would have had to pay the price for it, like literally. So I go to him, he sees the bill, and then again what he does is, Neha, he looks at me Like, he was probably God sent, I have to tell you. He looks at the bill, then he looks at me, and he says, Neha, I think you need a breather. Go home, drink a glass of water, revise this bill. You don't know what you've printed. Revise this bill and come back tomorrow in the morning and I'll pay you.
Seriously.
And he did that. Would you imagine?
Wow.
And
That
in
was
peak
really
pandemic, he was under the pressure. Yes,
understandable because that is so precious.
right,
The
right.
the entire experience. This is so valuable.
So this is also a reinforcement to the fact that, if you are genuinely trying to, do good work
Hmm.
and, provide the items and be answerable, accept your mistakes and just be nice, you are always going to be surrounded by people who will be ready to, forgive you for your mistakes and want to work with you again.
True.
Right? Because I still feel that had I been into this business, let's say for a few years now, and had I made that mistake, I would have been fooled. I would not get the correct payment. But that person, he was very nice, he was genuine, and I'm sure he probably saw through my naivete, that okay, maybe she's just beginning, but she's not made a mistake in delivery. She's not made mistake in the supply of items. She has made a blunder, but she's accountable. She's right here, standing in front of me, and she's still, ready to make amends. So, that it's a big takeaway to, be genuine and show that effort, and then eventually that's also a long way in building relationships, professional.
Very true.
So, yes,
And that also creates a humbleness within oneself who experiences it. Because as
right.
you say that, yes, you build up the network and the relationship part, you understand others' perspective also.
True, true, true. That is so true. And so the next time if somebody has made the same mistake with me, I know that okay, I will take it as a mistake and not as somebody's, you know, characterization. I will see it as a mistake, and also I will always forgive that person or
Hmm.
forgive that mistake because I know that somebody had been kind to me.
And that is where the emotional intelligence that you just spoke about, that plays a
Right,
role. That emotional quotient part,
right,
that plays
right.
such a crucial role.
Yes, but I not that I don't want to again sound
Mm-hmm.
uh, pompous, but that was one mistake, and I am so glad that I made it in the first deal itself, and that person was also kind enough to forgive it to me because I didn't make those mistakes again. I was so touched by somebody's kindness
Right.
that I knew that I will not be repaid with such kindness again.
Mm-hmm.
So that made me alert.
True. And any advice you would like to give those people who are, stepping into startup arena or want to do any startup?
I can only share my experience here because I mean, I am not as experienced, but um, for people who are starting out, I would just say that the best way to try your idea is to begin, to start, to get into the industry. You will probably realize that maybe the idea is not good enough or the way you approached it was not good enough. So that is one thing. Also, just don't be in your head about the idea. If
Mm-hmm.
you Because in the head it always looks good, the implementation is
Absolutely.
a different ball game altogether. So the best way to start a startup is to start. And another thing that one of my mentors has always told me, reiterated always, is and I follow it till date, and this is applicable to almost anything in life. I have a 90-day rule, which is if you don't see solid results or a product building or shaping up the way you would have wanted or would have been in the market in 90 days or 3 months, then it's time to reconsider or probably just completely discard it.
Okay.
So I think don't I am of the belief that if you don't want anything fast enough, you don't want it good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So and when you think of, okay, how fast can I achieve something, that is exactly when your mind and your horizon expands, and probably that is where the scope of eureka moment is.
Okay. So that's a good idea because, as you said, that just don't keep the idea in the idea form and to implement it, to try it out, to see whether this is workable or not.
Right, right.
That's
And
a very
always have a
valid.
timeline to it, so that you are pushed by yourself and you're motivated by yourself to show results or give results.
Right. That's where the accountability comes.
Right, right.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And can you share your social media link so that if people would like to connect with you or take your services or know more about biomedical engineering, they may connect with you?
Sure, sure, definitely. So, Tutelage Health is available on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram at the rate tutelage underscore health, which is at the rate TUTELAGE underscore HEALTH. Or if anybody wants to get in touch with me personally, they can always drop in a mail at Neha, NEHA, at the rate tutelagehealth.com. And for more information about my company, please visit www.tutelagehealth.com.
Thanks a lot. I will be sharing all the links that she had just mentioned in the post. Kindly connect with her and benefit with the work that she is doing.
Sure.
And anything else you would like to add before we end?
Firstly, I want to thank you, ma'am, for inviting me to your podcast. I feel honored to be one of the guests alongside all the previous guests that I've heard so far. So it's a great honor, and I just want to wish everybody who's listening to this podcast all the very best and good health, because we are really living in trying times, and health is the ultimate wealth. So just please take care of yourselves.
Thanks a lot for your wishes, and we all wish you the same. And hats
Thank
off
you.
to your parents and convey our regards to them. It's
Surely.
wonderful
Thank you.
listening to you and learning from your experience. And this was Miss Neha. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
This is Ms. Neha Joshi from India, a CEO and founder of Tutelage Health. Having a biomedical engineering degree in hand, she joined as a biomedical consultant with Maharashtra State Government in India. She quickly equipped herself to give wings to her passion, and thus she came up with healthcare services with a new look, a digital look. Her advice, especially to the youth, is to develop holistically as they strive to focus on their academics. Ms. Neha shared that though she had doubts and had very little knowledge about the know-hows of starting up, yet the drive to do something to solve problems surpassed any such moments. Her self-belief, courage, honesty, networking, and support from parents fueled her mission. Her vision is to promote and create modern healthcare technology so as to build an equitable healthcare society for better development of the nation. With this dream shaping into reality, I look forward to connect with yet another guest and their story. See you next week. Till then, take care and be safe. Bye.